Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating, deeply counterintuitive concept that might just completely change how you view human behavior, and honestly, maybe even your own social circles. When we think of fierce, cutthroat rivalry, our minds almost automatically jump to places driven by money and power, right? We picture corporate boardrooms, stock market floors, or those highly competitive sales teams. But what if I told you that the most intense, deeply rooted rivalries often aren't found on Wall Street at all? What if the spaces where human rivalry truly thrives are the ones we least expect? I'm talking about spaces built entirely on doing good. Today, we're exploring the paradox of rivalry, and we're going to uncover the hidden mechanics behind why good deeds can sometimes breed the absolute fiercest competition of all.
Okay, let's dive right into this with a little thought experiment. Picture two completely different groups of people. On one hand, you've got employees working at a cutthroat, fast-paced tech company. On the other, a community of volunteers dedicating their free time to an altruistic cause. Let's say organizing a local charity drive or a community bake sale. Now, instinctively, your brain probably screams that the tech company is the Shark Tank. After all, they're the ones chasing profits, promotions, and end-of-year bonuses, right? The volunteers are just there to hand out water bottles and do some good in the world. But if we take a step back and look a little closer at the underlying structure of these two environments, the story changes completely.
If we break down the fundamental differences between these two spaces, a really stark contrast emerges. And it actually has nothing to do with how quote-unquote nice the people are. Think about the tech company. In that world, everything is explicitly defined. Your salary is a set, mathematical number. Your job title is right there on your email signature. Everyone in the building knows exactly what they're going to earn and exactly what role they hold in the hierarchy. Now look at the volunteer community. The currency in this space isn't money at all. It's respect, influence, and social standing. But here's the critical difference. That currency is completely undefined. There's no set limit on who gets how much respect or who is considered the most virtuous. There is literally no organizational chart for social standing. And that brings us to the unexpected reality that forms the absolute core of our explainer today. Because of that structural difference we just talked about, rivalry is actually often much fiercer in altruistic spaces. People who are dedicating their lives to doing good deeds, to serving others, to pursuing spiritual or intellectual goals, they can actually end up fighting far more intensely than people who are just chasing a paycheck. It feels incredibly backward, doesn't it? It completely challenges our basic assumptions about human nature. To understand exactly why this happens, we need to dig into the actual mechanics of duty and reward. To make sense of this phenomenon, we can turn to the profound insights of the 20th century scholar Said Nursi, specifically from a text known as the 20th Flash. He diagnoses the root cause of this paradox just perfectly. Listen to how he describes worldly professions. He says, the duties of those working in worldly affairs, in politics, in various professions, are clearly separated from one another. The material pay and the social standing they'll receive are both defined. Think about how liberating that actually is. Because the boundaries of the job and the exact material reward are locked in, there just isn't enough overlap between people to cause real existential friction. I mean, if I'm the head of marketing and you're the head of IT, we have our defined lanes. My success doesn't inherently erase your success. Now, what's really interesting here is how Nursi contrasts that worldly space with the spiritual and altruistic space. He notes, but the duty of the devout, the scholars, and the spiritually inclined concerns all of humanity. How much respect each will receive, how much their words will be heeded, is never defined. And boom, this is exactly where the trap is set. Because the work concerns something as vast as all of humanity, the scope is limitless. And because the reward is just respect and having your words heeded, it is entirely open-ended. When the position is undefined, everyone naturally wants to occupy that top spot of virtue or influence. So you end up with all these people silently competing for the exact same undefined position, and toxic conflict naturally grows from that heavy ambiguity.
To really cement this concept, let's elevate Nursi's observation into a core mental model. We'll call it resource clarity. Resource clarity is simply the degree to which shares, boundaries, and material or social rewards are explicitly defined in any given space. Going forward, when you walk into a new environment, whether that's a new job, a new friend group, or a new volunteer organization, you should immediately ask yourself, how high is the resource clarity here? Do people know exactly what their share is? Are the boundaries of influence clearly drawn out? This one simple metric will tell you almost everything you need to know about the potential for toxic rivalry in that room.
And this brilliantly illustrates the two extreme ends of the resource clarity spectrum. On one side, you have the bounded space. The resources are clear, the shares are defined, and as a result, rivalry stays pretty low. It's safe, it's manageable. But on the other extreme, you have the boundless space. The reward is open-ended respect. There are absolutely no walls. And because there are no walls, everyone in that space is a potential rival to everyone else. Think about it. If the unspoken goal is to be the most respected person in the room, then every time someone else gains respect, our ego interprets it as us losing respect. The boundless space, which honestly sounds so free and beautiful on paper, is actually a total psychological minefield.
So, the crucial point is this. Religious, intellectual, and altruistic service almost always falls into this boundless, undefined category. Whether you're in an academic department fighting tooth and nail for intellectual prestige or in a community striving for moral authority, you are operating in a zone with virtually zero resource clarity. You're seeking a reward, influence, respect, legacy that cannot be measured, weighed, or neatly divided up into pieces. And that is exactly why the most bruising, exhausting rivalries happen among people who genuinely started out just wanting to make the world a better place. The complete lack of boundaries turns peers into threats.
So, the big question is, if you find yourself operating in one of these boundless spaces, how do you survive without turning into a bitter rival? Well, the source material actually provides a powerful philosophical exit strategy. Drawing from the Quran, Surah Yunus. It states simply, "My reward is only from God." Notice what this does psychologically. It takes this entirely undefined, highly competitive currency of human respect and social standing and completely removes it from the equation. It shifts the focus of the reward away from the audience around you toward a divine, infinite source. When your reward is no longer dependent on the limited attention of other people, well, your peers stop being your rivals. You just don't need their share of respect anymore, because you are no longer playing their game.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to turn the lens back onto you for a second. Think about the different areas of your own life, your hobbies, your volunteer work, maybe your intellectual or spiritual circles. Have you ever noticed yourself getting pulled into petty, exhausting, unnecessary competition in a setting where who gets more recognition was never clearly defined in the first place? I'll leave you with that thought. Take a moment today to reflect on where you might be fighting for undefined territory and how you might finally step out of that rivalry. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep exploring.